Once upon a time, in a land far away, there lived a king and queen who had longed for a child. Their wish was granted when the queen gave birth to a beautiful baby girl with skin as fair as snow, lips as red as blood, and hair as black as ebony. They named her Snow White, and her arrival brought immense joy to the kingdom. However, the queen fell terribly ill and passed away, leaving the king heartbroken. Years passed, and the king eventually remarried a vain and wicked woman who possessed great beauty but an even greater cruelty. She was skilled in dark magic and often consulted her enchanted mirror, seeking reassurance that she was the most beautiful in the land. "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" she would ask daily. The mirror, unable to lie, always replied that she was the fairest. But one day, as Snow White grew older, the mirror declared that Snow White, the king's daughter, had surpassed her in beauty. Consumed by jealousy, the wicked queen plotted to get rid of Snow White. She ordered a huntsman to take Snow White deep into the forest and kill her. The huntsman, unable to carry out such a wicked deed, took pity on Snow White and let her flee into the woods. He presented the queen with the heart of a wild boar as proof of Snow White's demise. Lost in the forest, Snow White stumbled upon a tiny cottage. Exhausted and frightened, she entered to find it immaculately kept with 7 small beds, a cozy fireplace, and a table set with 7 places. Realizing it belonged to 7 dwarfs, she decided to clean the house and make herself at home until they returned. Meanwhile, the dwarfs, named Doc, Grumpy, Happy, Sleepy, Bashful, Sneezy, and Dopey, worked in a nearby mine. Upon returning home, they were surprised to find their cottage tidy and Snow White asleep on their beds. After hearing her story, they welcomed her, moved by her kindness and innocence, and allowed her to stay. Unbeknownst to Snow White, the wicked queen discovered through her mirror that Snow White was alive and well. She transformed herself into an old hag and devised a plan to poison the young girl. Disguised, the queen approached Snow White with a poisoned apple, claiming it would grant wishes. Snow White, trusting and naive, took a bite and fell into a death-like slumber. The dwarfs returned to find Snow White motionless. They grieved but could not bear to bury her. Instead, they crafted a glass coffin and placed her inside. As time passed, a prince, enchanted by Snow White's beauty, came across the glass coffin. Captivated, he begged the dwarfs to let him take her to give her a proper burial. While being carried by the prince's servants, the coffin jostled, dislodging the piece of poisoned apple from Snow White's throat. She awoke, greeted by the prince's adoring gaze. Overjoyed, the prince declared his love for her, and they soon married, celebrating their union with great festivity. As for the wicked queen, upon learning of Snow White's revival, her jealousy consumed her. She attended the royal wedding, where her wicked deeds were exposed. Overcome with fury, she tried to escape but met a fitting punishment. Her own wickedness led to her demise. Snow White and the prince ruled the kingdom with kindness and wisdom, and the tale of Snow White's beauty, resilience, and the power of true love echoed throughout the land for generations to come.